Tonight, a historic Tyler apartment building for low-income residents is looking to make some major upgrades. The Moore Grocery Lofts are located in downtown Tyler along North Broadway Avenue, just to the north of the downtown square. And as KLTV7's Christine Guevara explains, Tyler City Council voted today to adopt a resolution that will beef up the Lofts' application to make use of tax credits.
Built in the early 1900s, the Moore Grocery Lofts was once used as a furniture warehouse, now turned into an affordable living development for low to moderate income households. But this historic marker comes with a need for revitalization. So developers are applying for affordable housing tax credit from the state to make the changes to their total of 88 units. Those include repairing the doors and windows, upgrading appliances, plumbing, and installing new roofs and parking lot surfacing. Construction costs estimate to about $70,000 per unit.
In our region, the urban region 4 is Tyler and Longview, and so there will be one project selected in our region to be awarded the tax credits.
And today, developers receive support from Tyler City Council, which helps strengthen the developer's application. Mayor Don Warren spoke in favor of the project as the city works to redo the downtown area.
So I like the idea of the Moore Grocery Lofts getting a facelift at the same time as we are trying to improve downtown.
With our downtown area, we want to support residential living, which will in turn help support, retail and other entertainment uses and things like that.
The developers will know by August if they are granted the tax credit. Christine Guevara, KLTV 7 News.